Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. All right, Erev Tov, everyone. It's good to be back. I spent the last few days in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. It was a wonderful trip for many reasons. I'm not going to elaborate now, but for one, I got to see two synagogues. One of them being the very famous Spanish-Portuguese synagogue, been around from, I want to say, the 1600s or 1700s. It still uses candles to illuminate the room. They only open the big synagogue for the high holidays, because it takes 2 hours just to light the candles in the men's section and another hour in the ladies section. So they pray in the winter time. They pray in a smaller room. They call it the winter synagogue. But this shul, we purchased tickets to a tour. It was monstrous, but like so prestigious in the fact that you see names. You see Sephardic names for one. And it's really what you picture a synagogue of 400 years old to be. The original wood. They had their sofas right in front of the Hechal. That the audio tour we were listening explained that these were the seats for the Chatanim of Simchat Torah. Wow. And they were covered, so you couldn't see the real material of the sofa. But nevertheless, that's where they sat, the Chatanim. I bring this up because Amsterdam was a city that was not so much destroyed by the Germans in World War II. And Hitler chose not to destroy the synagogue because he wanted to keep it as a museum so that people should know after he wipes out all the Jews, he was going to keep it a museum. In case you want to know what the Jews were about, this is what it was. So he kept it intact. He didn't destroy it like many other synagogues in Europe. And the synagogue that I prayed in on Shabbat was also there in the center of town. The security guard, who was an Israeli guy, he was just, I guess acting as a shomer, he says, remember the address, because if not, you're not going to find it. Okay, so the address was number 238. Lo and behold, we get to 238, and it just looks like a typical, just the face of all the Amsterdam types of homes. It was just very squeezed together, like narrow entrances, and you can't tell. There's no sign that says Bet Knesset. There's nothing there. A very small mezuzah, and then all of a sudden you go into this door. You hang a left, and it's like the whole picture, like 3 floors of this home opened up into this, again, really old synagogue that's almost approaching 200 years old in the 1860s or 1870s. That's still running, and every Shabbat they have a small minyan, but it's an Ashkenazi shul, and I was told that the reason why that one was not destroyed during World War II is because the Nazis couldn't find it. They couldn't find the shul. You look outside, you cannot tell it's a shul. It's just a thing. And then you go inside, and all of a sudden you see this thing. It's like, drapery, and you see the years stitched on the drapery. I always elated when I see things like this, and for me at least, it's just goes to show you that we're still here, and although the community in the Netherlands did take a hit after the war or during the war, but there's still 60,000 Jews strong, in the Netherlands, and a very large Israeli community as well. So there's a lot more that I saw, including, of course, the Anne Frank Museum and her story and her actual diary on display. But maybe we'll talk about that another time. I just wanted to share with the Kahal those two little anecdotes of seeing what a Bet Knesset, especially the Spanish Portuguese, which was it was monstrous, and so glorifying to see. And it was a Sfaradi shul. You know, they had for a dear friend Avi, they had a room for the Parnasim. They had an office where the Parnasim, they had multiple Parnasim where they would meet. They had like a boardroom just for the Parnasim to discuss, the situations of the community and how to, whether it was to allocate funds or it was a whole complex. The synagogue was in the middle, and around it were other rooms, offices. One of them was a mikveh. One of them was, things that was part of it. And if you ever get a chance to go to Amsterdam, I don't know if that. I think there was the old mikveh, and then there's one that was there that was still in use. I think the one that was still in use was closed, and we were only able to see the old mikveh through a window. But I still think there's a mikveh there that they use. It was a very rainy day that day we went to visit, so we couldn't spend much time outside. We had to quickly go into the, but even downstairs they have this, they call it the treasure room, where they keep all the old drapery of the Sifrei Torah. Yeah, but it's not like what we have today. Even forget about the round ones that we have. Even the Ashkenazi ones that you see in the shuls nowadays is very, very basic. If you see what they used to dress the Torah with 200 years ago, 300 years ago, I took some pictures. I'll be glad to show you guys if you want afterwards. But anyways, that was a little bit of my experience of my small trip. It was well worth it, Baruch Hashem. Let's learn a halacha, continuing the laws of Lashon Hara, Klal Vav Halacha Hey. He says, "Ve'ata nachzor le'inyanenu." Let's return to the topic. Dema shekatavnu b'sa'if bet, what we wrote in Seif Bet, Da'afilu shmiat Lashon Hara hu isur Torah, that even listening to Lashon Hara without believing it is still a violation of a mitzvah. Hainu lelech ve'lishmoa means that one intentionally goes to listen to hear Lashon Hara. That's what he's pointing. I'm going to this conversation because I want to hear what they have to say. But if let's say you're sitting at a table with people that are gathered there, who then start speaking Lashon Hara, and he is already calculating, he's surmising the fact that if I were to rebuke them, they're not going to listen. Talui bazeh, then the law is dependent on the following. If it's possible for him to walk away, or place his fingers in his ear, he's performing a very big mitzvah. Like the Chachamim tell us in Masechet Ketuvot. But if it's impossible for him to slip away, and putting his fingers in his ears is difficult for him. Why? They're going to ridicule him. And it's certain that he cannot use this strategy. At the very least, he should strengthen himself and stand firm. To wage the battle for Hashem against his Yetzer Hara, so he will not stumble. In the prohibition of hearing and accepting Lashon Hara. And in such a situation where he cannot leave the group, he should consider or comply with the following three conditions, which will at least save him from violating the Torah prohibition. What are these three conditions? Aleph, יחליט בנפשו בהסכם גמור שלא להאמין לדברי גנות שמספרים לחבריהם. Number one, he resolves definitively that he is not going to accept or believe this information, this derogatory information that they're saying about their friends. Bet, לא נהיה ניחא בשמיעת סיפוריהם האסורים האלה. He must not feel pleased to hear these forbidden accounts. And Gimel, Gam Ya'amid al Atzmo, he should control himself, Shelo leharot lifnei hamesaperin shum tenua, that he does not show the speakers any gesture that indicates that he approves of their words. Ach yeshev ke'even domem, he should sit still as stone. And if he's able to show them a severe face, like an upset face, that conveys that he disapproves of what they're saying, that are certainly preferable. Halacha vav. Bameh dvarim amurim. What situation were these words said that we said a person sitting in a group of people does not violate Lashon Hara? Im ba'et sheyashav benehem lo dibru az diburim asurim. That's only that when the guy went to sit on the table, what they were talking about was fine. They were talking about sports, they were talking about baseball, whatever it is, it's okay. V'gam ata eno yachol leishamer mehem. And also, once he began speaking Lashon Hara, it was not possible to escape. But if Reuven decides to sit on this table, they already started to talk Lashon Hara, or he was able to walk away from them, he's just lazy and doesn't want to do so, then he violates a prohibition. Or let's say he knows that the people sitting on this table are prone to speak Lashon Hara based on past experience. Who always have this persistent urge to speak negatively about others, and yet he still goes to sit with them. In that situation, even if he doesn't actually participate in the conversation, or take pleasure, he's considered a sinner. Because he had violated the words of the Chachamim, because the Chachamim instructed us to distance ourselves from hearing improper words. How much more so, that he sits down with intent to hear these words. Gadol avono mineso, his transgression is unbearably severe. And because of this avera, he will be inscribed in the books above, Beshem Ishra uBeshem Ba Lashon Hara, as a person who is called a wicked person and a habitual speaker of Lashon Hara. Kedeika bepirkei de Rabbi Eliezer b'tzavat Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, shetziva livno hur kenus, this is in the will of Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, who instructed his son Hur Kanus. V'zeh leshono, this is what he writes in the will. Beni, my son, al teshev b'chaburat ha'omrim gnai mechevreim. Do not sit among a group of people who will speak ill of their fellows. Because when their words go above, b'sefer hanichtavim, they're recorded in a book. V'chol ha'omdim sham, and all those who stood together, nichtavim b'shem chaburat resha u'ba'alei lashon hara, are inscribed as a group of Reshaim and Baalei Lashon Hara. Al ken, therefore, tzarich adam leitrachek meod meod mechavura ra'a kazu. One must distance himself greatly from this wicked company, so not to transgress these avirot. Bezrat Hashem, next time we will continue.